Welcome back to the Global Dynasty YouTube channel. This is a platform for today's society to stay current with celebrity, entertainment, pop culture, and news. This video is meant for entertainment purposes only. Y'all, let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 2, Allegation Nation. So, of course, the beginning of this episode is just a continuation of last week. You have Mia continuously pleading her case as to why she posted that information about her health diagnosis on social media. So she's kind of trying to plead her case to the ladies to explain, well, this is the reason behind why I did it, while you thinking that I'm doing it for attention. And that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to bring awareness on my platform. And so her childhood friend is also there with her. And she jumps in for Mia's defense. And she's just like questioning the ladies. Like, do y'all really think this is something she would lie about? And let's be honest, like, really think about it. Like, would you really wish that type of health diagnosis on yourself? No. So I agree. I think it was for awareness, and she was just wanting people to know. And of course, she was scared and she just wanted to reveal that information. And I like that her friend Jacqueline came in for her defense because no one else there had her back. Although Karen tried to give her the benefit of the doubt last week and said, let's hear her out, she's not very vocal. And look what the wind blew in. Not Katie Ross making an appearance at the spring fling with the new look. Remember her a few months ago kind of begging for her job back, but I see that did not work out for her. So she just made a guest appearance, not even as a friend of, because I don't even think she was mic'd this episode. It was just Katie dropping by. And I'm wondering who gave her that information. It's given Robin probably told her, or Giselle. You know how the Green Bandits are. So the Spring Fling event kind of wrapped with Candace, Wendy, and Ashley having a discussion about Candace's IVF journey. And Wendy actually is taking a step back and looking like, okay, look at you ladies having a sweet moment and being cordial. Because for those of you that don't remember, Ashley and Candace were oil and water. And if you really don't remember, get into this next clip.
When your mom is still taking care of... I'm in your mama's house right now.
You will not talk about my mother in my home.
Do not ruin your mom. Don't ruin your mama's table.
You will not talk about my mother in my home.
I am
my mother in my home.
Moving on to good old Kern. Karen actually gives us an insight of her plastic surgeon consultation for her breast augmentation. And I like that she actually went into detail and let us know, like, this is not for Ray. This is my decision. I think that it's been a few years and she just wants to rejuvenate herself. And it's her body and her choice. And I'm here for it, Karen. All right, and when it comes to the Bassetts, we're getting more of an insight of Candace's feelings towards her IVF journey and how she feels. Her little sister's actually living with her and Chris for the time being, so she's having a discussion with her, and she reveals that she's actually scared of the unknown of becoming a mother. And so I think that with her plate being so full, being a full-time student, a wife, and an artist all in one, I think that she's just learning how she's going to grasp all of that, because everything's going really good in Candace's life. Like, she's networking, she's about to re-release her EP, so I'm excited for her in this journey that she's going to take. We see a discussion between Ashley and her mommy and me friend Deborah, and Ashley reveals that Michael is very much so still in the house, but they stay in separate bedrooms. She says that she sleeps in the room with her youngest son, and I'm assuming that Michael sleeps in their original master bedroom. She also says that she's not really interested in dating at the moment, and one question that her mommy and me friend Deborah asked that I thought was very juicy. She asked Ashley, do you think that Michael is still trying to wiggle his way back in your life? And Ashley responds with a hesitant, like, I don't know. Possibly. And this situation very much so gives that she still has a connection with Michael. And there's nothing wrong with that. They were married for going on 8 years, and that's understandable, but it's also given like she's not necessarily ready to just leave just yet. So I think that it's interesting to see the dynamic of when she first came on the show with Michael versus now, it's definitely a different dynamic. We're seeing a different Ashley right now. And I'm wondering if Michael will be appearing on this season. Possibly not, but I guess we'll have to stay tuned. So Robin and Giselle meet up at a coffee shop, but before the conversation can even start, Robin lets Giselle know she has a bone to pick with her. And of course, Robin feels some type of way about Giselle telling the other ladies about her name being the only name on her and Juan's house. So, in a confessional, of course, Robin has to explain everything to us, and she lets us know the reason why Juan's name isn't on their house is because if his name went on the title, the interest rates would have increased. So it was just best to leave him off because of the past situation and his credit not being where it needs to be. But she also lets us know that it's not one of those situations where she's just walking around like, this is my house, even though technically it really is her house. But I'll let the viewers view that as they choose to, because we all know that Robin and Juan have a very confusing situation. So, of course, after they get that out of the way, Robin actually digs in Giselle's tail and lets her know, like, your delivery was horrible with Mia. And Giselle pulls out her phone and does something that I never thought she would do. She apologizes. She sends Mia a text message and apologizes and wants to meet up with her so that they can discuss the situation in further. So I thought that was very telling. But of course, she only did it because Robin is holding her to what she said and making her accountable for her actions. So good job, Robin. Finally. Robin also gets to the tea and she lets her know that Ashley spilled some other tea to her. And let's just get into the clip.
So last night, I get this DM from Chris. At 2:42, he writes, "You should have came to the W."
After the party?
Yeah. Who are you at the W with? Not your wife.
So after Ashley reveals this information to Robin, Robin straight up lets her know, like, I don't think it's anything serious. I think it's very innocent. And Chris also works at the Hotel Washington. And she makes it known that Chris did not slide in Ashley's DM. Chris was responding to a story. There's a difference. Now, if he slid in her DMs, then okay, he slid in her DMs. But let's be honest, we all know what it looks like when you reply to someone's Instagram story. It still looks like it's a message. So I do think it's a bit of a reach, especially considering Chris has never done anything like this before. And so as Robin is letting Giselle know this information, of course, Giselle has FOMO. She has fear of missing out. And she has to latch on to someone else's storyline to make herself in so she can stay relevant. So Giselle pretty much tells Robin, well, I also had an incident with Chris that you knew about, but you didn't think it was a big deal. And Giselle talks about the previous reunion months ago, sometime last year. And she says how Chris asked her to have a conversation and asked her to go into her dressing room, and she felt uncomfortable. Even though Chris, during that conversation, never said anything to offend Giselle and he never touched her. The whole time, she states that he was only talking about Candace. So for her to even bring this up, she's just being herself a leech, latching on to stay relevant. And I stand by that, because why would you even bring the situation up when it happened last year? Why not bring it up last year? So I'm not really understanding where she's going with this whole logic, but I start to see the allegation in the nation. All right, when it comes to Ray and Karen, they have a discussion about Karen's breast augmentation, and Ray reveals that he straight up does not want their daughter Raven to be encouraged to do the same. Now, this is very interesting considering when Karen and Ray first got married, he did not have an issue with her making cosmetic procedures on her body or to herself. He didn't have an issue with it. He loved it, and it was fresh. He had the young-looking wife on his arm while he was an older gentleman, and now that Karen is about the same age when he was when they first met, he has an issue with it, and now his views towards it changed because they have a daughter and he doesn't want her to feel like she needs to go and do that. And again, I think that would be a personal decision for their daughter if she did decide to do it. That would be something that she chose to do. I don't think that she would do it because her mother did it. Because let's be honest, again, like I said on the last one, Karen has been in that plastic surgery pond a few times, and it didn't influence her daughter to do anything to her nose or to her face. So I think it's a bit of a reach, and I kind of am shocked. But I will say, I hope we get more from Karen this season. It feels like she's playing it safe. But again, the season did just start. This is only episode 2, so I'm pretty sure we'll get Kern. Mia and G meet up to discuss opening a new location for their chiropractic business, The Joint, and while trying to juggle Mia's new health diagnosis. And their friend Jacqueline actually meets them there as well. And Mia reveals that she will need additional testing after having the biopsy. So this seems to be an ongoing process for Mia, and just hoping that everything comes out safely for her. Jacqueline actually voices her opinion, and she thinks that Karen was covering her tracks at the Spring Fling event when Mia was talking about the diagnosis of the topic. So I did say that in the beginning. I think that Karen was playing it safe and she didn't come to Mia's defense. So it was a good thing that Jacqueline was there. But when it comes to Mia, I think that Mia's storyline just really runs stale. She doesn't bring much to the show. And I think that this situation going on, it is something, but it's not enough for her to be a housewife at this point. I think when she first came on the scene, of course, we were all intrigued by her situation with G, with him being so much older than her and even knowing more about her past. I think that was what kept us going with her. But at this point in time, outside of what's going on with this storyline, it's not much. So right along with Karen, Mia needs to start bringing more this season in order for me to be interested. So this is where the episode started getting real juicy for me. Ashley decides to meet up with Candace, and she decides to do one-on-one versus a group setting, which I'm happy Ashley didn't disclose this information in the group setting, because it's not for the group to know, it's for Candace to know. So Ashley goes into detail, and she tells her pretty much the same thing that she told Robin about the DM from Chris. And Candace was kind of shocked, like, who? My man, Chris? And Candace lets Ashley know, like, the only reason why he's reaching out to you is because he's the general manager at the Hotel Washington, and he's just trying to rebrand. He wants to bring cool people in, and that's why he reached out to her. And so it's a situation where Ashley just felt comfortable with disclosing this information to Candace, because she didn't want Candace to find out some other way, versus like if she was snooping through Chris's phone and, you know, went through his messages and saw that message. She didn't want it to seem like it was something done with intent. And so Candace decides to give Ashley the benefit of the doubt this time. So hopefully nothing else comes up, because we all know how Candace can get with that mouth. Real lethal. So Ashley decides to get all the girls together for a dance session, and Ashley tells Giselle that her reaction at the Spring Fling was a bit too much. So we all know how dramatic Giselle was being, and she was like, are you guys really getting a divorce? She was very extra at this Spring Fling, and so Ashley decided to call her out on it, which I'm glad. Let this be the season of Giselle getting called out by everybody. So Giselle basically lets Ashley know it seems as if she's playing with divorce. And people that are divorcing don't get a house together, right? And so that's Giselle's whole logic. And Ashley just lets her know, like, me and Michael don't have a hostile situation, so why create one if there's not one there? So yeah, she pretty much shut her up with that. So after the dance class, the girls enjoyed themselves. They had a good time. Candace ends up letting Giselle and Robin know about her IVF journey and what she's been going through. And so for some odd reason, Giselle thinks this is the best time to have a talk with Candace about the Chris situation. Like, you could not have done this one-on-one with her, even though it was a one-on-one talk. Like, why do it at a group setting? So she and Candace decide to, you know, have the one-on-one conversation, and then Giselle basically lets Candace know about the reunion situation, stating how she felt uncomfortable, although Chris didn't say anything or do anything to make her feel uncomfortable. And so the end of the episode gets you ready for the next episode, because Candace breaks the fourth wall and she requests to speak to a producer. So I'm very much so interested to get into episode 3 to see how this conversation with production goes with Candace, because I think she's at the point where she's like, no, not my husband. We're not doing that. So tell me your thoughts on this episode and what you think will be happening with the rest of the season. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Until next time, y'all.